So I'm Margot Dichtemiller. This is my wife, Nancy Katz. We're really happy to welcome you to our home and to learn about BlueCD2. I was telling, I think, Uta and Linda, Kathy, um, about learning about BlueCD2. Nancy is the more politically savvy person of the two of us, but Marty was visiting us in Palm Springs for a week, and she kept talking about this BlueCD2. She had a lot of phone calls, Zooms. I mean, this was supposedly vacation. But, and so finally I made her tell me all about this. And we're just really enthralled with this relatively small group of people who have had a huge impact using sort of very simple means in getting Gabe Vasquez elected. So Marty will talk more about BlueCD2, how it works, and what is really exciting is the possibility of other states that have flippable elections using this same model, modifying it, of course, for their state, but basically the BlueCD2 group has done all the work. So I'm going to turn things over to Marty, who's going to be, she's the boss of the evening, and she's going to tell us all about BlueCD2.
Okay. And I'm going to have a PowerPoint that Josh, our wonderful AV, everything technical person, is going to help us with. So what this PowerPoint is going to do, I'll give you a moment. Okay. Of course. Whoop.
Usually I've got 3 screens.
You can come a little bit more to the center.
Marty, is your mic on?
It is.
My mic is on for the Zoom people, and I will speak up. And if you can't hear me, tell me, but usually people can hear me across the park. All right. All right, enough chatter. Anyway, this is the PowerPoint. It's a little long. I will try to flip through it. I'm not going to read a lot of it. But anyway, BlueCD2 is, as these quotes suggest, we're pretty unique. We didn't know we were unique, but we are the only, as far as we know, organization, political organization to focus on a single congressional district, which is New Mexico 2, that is not the candidate itself. Okay. And we have evolved since 2021 when we started, and we've learned a lot. And you'll see in this that we are writing. We have written one level, and we're almost finished with the second level of a guide for other districts that are really close. When we first worked with on Gabe's campaign in 2022. We had, thank God, just been redistricted or we wouldn't have succeeded. And we were at D+3. Now we're D+0. So the 2024 campaign was even up. And that's the kind of district that we are hoping that we can help other organizations around the country flip those flippable toss-up districts from red to blue. So next, it's historically a Republican stronghold. That was before redistricting. Redistricting was a little deliberate in making it first a plus D3 and now a 0. It used to be like an R17. And our mission is to get Gabe Vasquez elected, first of all, in 2022, and to keep him there in 2024 and now in 2026. And we also work to support Democrats up and down the ballot. We target unregistered, newly registered, and infrequent voters. Infrequent means they either don't vote, like didn't vote in 2020 and 2022, voted in only one election. Sometimes they don't even vote in the general election. That's who we go after. And we specifically, in addition, target younger and Hispanic because the district is about 60% Hispanic and many non-voters in that. We use data analytics as one of our strengths. We use many different ways that you'll see to get our message out. I don't think we have any postcarders in here, but Margot's a postcarder. Uda's a postcarder. Really? Whoa, cool. Okay. Well, anyway, we use postcards. You'll see all the different things we do. And we also are extremely good at messaging, as you'll see some of our messages as they come along, because we pay attention to national research, not by the Democratic Party, but by people who actually really know how to think about messaging. And then we adjust it to New Mexico. Okay, next. Our target audience is reluctant voters. They can either be registered Democrats or, as you may or may not know, the number of, in New Mexico, it's called DTS, decline to state. Independents is what other states call them, is growing. So in CD2, there's at least as many people who have not chosen a party as there are Democrats. Okay, it's about a third, a third, a third. But we know there what's called a partisan score. Oh, CD2 is about a third registered Republican, a third of registered people. Okay, a third registered Republican, a third registered Democrat, and a third declined to state, which DTS or independent, depending on whatever. But because we get what's called partisan scores, there are companies that are out there looking at everything you buy and everything you subscribe to and everything you give money to, and they give you a partisan score. So if you bought Michelle Obama's book, if you gave money to Charlie Kirk, if you know, whatever you did, they put it all together and they come up with what you care about most, meaning what do you give money to? What do you buy? And they put that together and you can get those scores. So we use those scores to pick independents, the DTS people who are pretty progressive. They're just not, there's a pox on both your houses is their attitude. And the other thing is the technology is really making a difference there because with automatic registration, you used to have to vote in, opt in. Now you have to opt out when you get your driver's license. They're getting registered, but they're not choosing. So it may not be that they wouldn't choose. It's just that the situation in which they get signed up is not one that makes a choice necessary. Okay, we go after predominantly Hispanic, mostly younger than 45, and who did not vote. This is for 2022 in the last two elections. In 2024, we expanded that a little, so it was did not vote in either 2022 or 2020, but not didn't vote in both. Okay. And we also, because we had a little more money last year, went after, I call it the Imagine campaign. Others call it the Persuadables or whatever, but it was declined to state with a partisan score right smack in the middle. So they were neither total left or total right, whatever. Okay, next. We do a lot of things to these same people on the premise, because you'll hear Constance Massel's in a minute. She is co-chair of BlueCD2, and her career was in marketing. And thank God, because she's the one who keeps us on the idea that nobody even has heard of you, registers that you exist and so on until they have had at least 5 touches from you. And we try to go for up to 10 touches, in a year. We want them to recognize us. We want them to trust us. We want them to come to us, to our website for useful information to them. We try to figure out what will be useful information to them and make sure it's there, like how to register. Believe me, if you go to the Secretary of State's website, you will probably not figure out how to register. So we had a whole how to register, what do you need, what to do if you moved, all this sort of stuff. So that red thing in the middle is the voters. So we send postcards to them. We do social media advertising on Facebook, Instagram, blah, blah, whatever. We're getting up to speed on TikTok. We have our website. We do billboards. We do texting to them. We do programmatic ads. So the one that you'll see one of my favorites went to college. It goes to locations. So it went Friday night to football stadiums, high school football stadiums, and you'll see what it says. And we do a little bit of radio, but radio is expensive. And it turns out that we do radio where we shouldn't, which is the urban areas, and radio is much more important in rural areas. So we may be changing that. Okay. I'm not going to read these, but they're both. Diane Dennis is the former lieutenant governor of our state, and she is basically saying that we're wonderful. Okay, so. Our website is our secret power. All our campaigns are directed to the way. If you get a postcard, it's going to have a QR code. You click on it, takes you to a page on the website. If you're going by a billboard, we had this wonderful billboard in Las Cruces that came out, early in Trump 2, and it had the price of eggs at $11.99, and it said, "Nobody voted for this, let's fix it." And there was a QR code. There was also the written out website. We went from 27 average hits a day to 256 the day that went up. And which means people are driving by and they're somehow or other, flashing on it. So our website, we try to make a robust source of information. It has lots of information. I hope you will check it out because it really tells you a lot, and it has wonderful graphics. We have a whole free graphics download section for people to use what we've come up with. And it also, thanks to Google Analytics, provides us with a lot of information about where people are going, what they're looking at, how long they're staying, and so on. And it's very, that's where I got the 256 hits in one day from. So we can track, measure, and then maybe change our campaigns if the data are showing us that something is or isn't working. Go. Okay, this is our summer register to vote campaign. It had 6 postcards. The same people got all 6 postcards. It had a theme, as you can see, a fork in the road. Register to vote, and you can, your voice isn't muffled. It's your health or your bills. It's your family the way you want it, or surgeons and OBs in handcuffs. Okay, this was also an experiment with using Spanglish. We used to do both English and Spanish. Then we switched to only English. This one we tried it in Spanglish. Now, remember, our district is like 60% plus Hispanic. Hispanics loved it. Anglos, maybe not. But it also urged people to come to our register to vote page. So the flip side of this had the QR code, and that took you to a really good next register to vote site. Okay, this is our fall GOTV. We sent 90,000 postcards to the same 30,000 people in series. So each one got 3, and you can see what those 3 are. Next. And these are, yes, see, sex could end. That's what went to the football game. But these are called programmatic ads, and they're those pesky little things that show up on your phone, no matter where you are or what you're doing. So this is not Facebook. This is not, this goes where that particular person goes. If they go to gaming sites, these will show up on gaming sites. If they go to shopping sites, these will show up there. News sites, whatever you do, you're going to see these if you're part of our target universe. And they move and they attract you, and people do click on them, in fact. Okay, next. We also did billboards. We had 8 weeks of an influencer, and she was wonderful. We did a huge number of texts, which were very targeted to, based on those propensity scores that I talked about. What do you care about? Do you care about the climate? Do you care about the price of eggs? Do you care about your healthcare? Messages were very specific for those things. And then we did these 30-second ads in Albuquerque and Las Cruces, and we need to not do them there and do them wherever else there's radio. Okay, go next. This is the campaign. I call it the Imagine campaign. You can see why. We picked 7,000 centrists. This is because we had a little extra money. And meaning they were independent, and they were in that middle range. And this was specifically aimed at talking about what Project 2025 was going to do, helping people understand Project 2025. How will Project 2025 affect you? And then that QR code gets you to the page that explains that. Next. Okay, Foundation Blue Media is what we use for those programmatic ads, those little flashy things. And they say that we do incredibly good. Now, incredibly good may not sound really good when it looks like only less than 1% of your things get clicked on, but the average is 0.02. Okay, and with many of our target populations, we did 7 times better than that, 10 times better than that, and in one case, 40 times better than that in terms of getting people to click on our ads. So one of the things that we're known for is our skill with messaging, which is really important, because if you don't get through, if nobody's listening to you, if you're not catching their attention, you're not going to change their mind. Next. Okay, how we use data. We use it in all these ways, and we're going to show you. Okay, this is one of the ways we use it, which is, did we do anything? Did we make a difference? So did we move the dial? In 2022, Gabe won by a very slim margin of 1,346 votes. Of the 7,000 of the 40,000 people we touched voted. And remember, these are people who hadn't voted in the last 2 elections. And these were registered Democrats and Democratic-leaning independents who did not vote in 2018 or 2020, which was a general. In 2024, Gabe won by 11,000 votes, and 22,000 of the 40,000 people that we touched voted. Okay. Now, remember, they weren't as hard. They had voted in at least one of the last 2 elections, but nevertheless. Okay. We are also, the other kind of praise we get is that we really use your money very well. This tells you how much we spent on each kind of activity. All our money comes from you. Just look at the bottom line, and first look at the $6, $18, and so on and so forth, and then look at the average cost per voter in most campaigns, $200. That's because we're all free. Okay. Whereas other people have to pay staff. Okay, next. I think it's, okay, so this is, again, what important people talk about us. David Callahan, Simon Rosenberg, they both are saying that we're unique, and that we, especially around our use of data and our messaging and our focus on a single district. And I think Constance is next. Yep, Constance is there.
Sure enough. As Marty said earlier, I'm Constance Masells, and I'm one of the co-chairs of BlueCD2 New Mexico. I first joined BlueCD2 back in late 2021 when we were just getting rolling. I have a long history of running marketing campaigns as I owned a marketing company and marketing and branding company for many, many years. I've marketed everything from capacitors to rideshare to biotech, and including many campaigns for reproductive freedom. The work we've done at BlueCD2 New Mexico since I joined has been some of the most successful marketing I've ever been a part of. It's gratifying, it's energizing, and it's effective. One of the great things about us is that we are all volunteers, so none of your money goes to overhead. Instead, it all gets spent on reaching and motivating reluctant voters. As I lost my place, sorry about that. The result has been a series of remarkably successful outcomes at a remarkably low cost. We really squeeze the most out of all the dollars we raise. 2026 is a crucial year. I don't have to tell you that. Right now, we're finishing our Let's Fix It campaign with our reluctant voters. But we're also testing to see what modalities and messaging in what combination works best so we can really drive our campaigns home next year. Your contributions tonight will help us finish 2025 strong and help fund our first campaign of next year, which we plan to start in January. We want those reluctant voters educated and ready to vote when November rolls around. Not to mention our collaboration with groups from other swing states, districts, which Marty and Nancy already have alluded to, and who are using our methods to succeed in electing as many Democrats to the House as possible. We have the potential to change the direction of the election, and we all want that. Thank you very much for your generosity.
All right. So I want to say something on the.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to have the mic. Sorry.
I'm Nancy Katz. I'm one of the people that lives here, and Margot here is my wife. We are incredibly impressed by the work that they've done and the way it could potentially be replicated in other districts throughout the country. It's the kind of work that we need to do at the grassroots, and it will get Democrats elected. So Margot and I have decided that whatever people give tonight, we will match dollar for dollar.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, in case you're thinking you might want to give a little bit more than you already have or had otherwise planned, what I should have with me is either a little square to take your credit card or at least a QR code to get you to the right place. And I don't have either of those. So, let me encourage you to just use your phone, go to our website. This is our website, and you can hit the donate button. And then you can do whatever you're going to do there. That it will be the best way to do it. Okay. Questions so far, or else I will just go on to what's next. Ed.
Could you explain if you're?
There don't seem to be any questions in the chat. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Ed.
Just briefly explain if you were going to give directly to Gabe Vasquez's campaign versus giving to a CD2 Blue. Could you explain?
I will. Okay. So BlueCD2, that's us. Okay. The question was, what's the difference between giving directly to Gabe Vasquez's political campaign and giving to BlueCD2? Okay. So Gabe's campaign is obviously a political campaign, the usual variety. You can give whatever, Ed'll know what the limits are. 2,600? 5,600 in the election cycle. So we are now in the 2026 election cycle. You could give as much as you want to us. We have no limits on what you can give to us. So that's one big difference. The other big difference is that we are a PAC, a political action committee. We are an independent expenditure political action committee, and we are prohibited by law, by what we are, from coordinating with Gabe's campaign. Nevertheless, except in off years. So we've done a little bit of communicating this year. The curtain comes down in November, but most people are behaving as if the curtain's already down, just to be on the safe side. We are nevertheless dedicated entirely to getting Gabe elected. So that's the confusion, is that we behave pretty much with the same motivation as the campaign, but we don't coordinate with them. We run our own show. And we are also not affiliated with and prohibited from working with the state Democratic Party, county Democratic parties. It's really pretty stupid. But that is those are the rules. And we pretty much go along with them. Yeah.
Marty, may I interject for a second?
Yeah.
Because we're a PAC, this kind of PAC, it means you can give us as much money as you want. There is no upper limit.
I already said that.
Oh, you did? I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
But there's no harm in saying it again. So is that good enough, or further clarification needed? It gives us a great deal of more freedom. It means we decide what we do. So we decide on our messaging. We are not stuck with anything that, consultants tell people at the national level. We are free to tailor things to New Mexico. We are free to pick the topics. Like at one point or other, we thought, oh, let's do something on gun control. Well, forget that. Nobody cares. Nobody wants gun control in CD2. And so, much better to talk about the price of daycare, the price of eggs, the price of gas, and so on, the things that people really do care about. And now, having their family and friends arrested and disappeared. That's what they care. That's what they care about. And so we really, really, really pay a lot of attention on a regular basis, changing basis. Like this year, we're doing 5 postcard rounds. We very deliberately did not design 5 postcards in January. We're doing 1 postcard at a time so that we can, you should see the next one. The next one is just spectacular. Is there any chance, Constance, that you can put up the Broken Liberty one that Deb just showed us?
I don't have it myself, unfortunately, no.
Okay. Anyway, it's this Statue of Liberty. It's all broken. It's like it would end, and she's going like this. And it says like, help her now, or something like that. We would not have come up with that in January. So we take every opportunity to be as timely as we possibly can and as direct to people's concerns as we can. Tom.
Yeah, so when you were formed as a PAC, the 2nd district was always going to be.
Could you use the
I will repeat it.
microphone with your, yeah, thank you.
I will repeat it.
When you would identify the 2nd district and the 2nd district only as the part that you will.
The question is, why the 2nd district? The people who formed this lived in the 2nd district. And they had just lived through an election in which Yvette Harrell won and defeated Xochitl Torres Small, the first Democrat elected in quite a long time. And they were horrified, traumatized, you name it. And they were determined that they were going to get rid of Yvette Harrell, hence CD2. There wasn't a choice. It was like where they lived and what they didn't want there.
And then how do you decide, this might be a naive question, who you're going to support?
That's coming up. Who we're going to support? We support Gabe, period. What?
Why did you choose Gabe?
Because they lived in CD2 and he's the one that's running for Congress.
And he's a Democrat.
Of course. Yes.
I think
So
also,
in fact, we were working, BlueCD2 was formed before Gabe opted to run. And so whoever the Democrat was, we were going to support that Democrat to get rid of Yvette. Okay. So it's completely, it's a very grassroots, it came right out of the soil. And it wasn't a choice. It was, we've got to get rid of Yvette. Okay, Bonnie.
The opposition, and why are the Republicans so frightened of that person that they have been doing anti-Gabe ads for 3 or 4 months
Okay.
already?
Gabe is one of only 13 Democrats in Congress who won a district that Trump won. They're going after all 13 of them, as nasty as they can. So why? Because, they think they're vulnerable and they don't want to lose the House. Simple, really. Let me try to do the rest of this, and you'll see kind of what we're doing and how we're doing it, and we'll have another time for questions.
one more thing, Marty, before you go on.
Go ahead.
Kim, would you like to update us on where we are?
Yes, we are currently at $7,330. Thank you so much.
Yay! Thank you, everybody. Okay, so what we're doing in 2025, we do have this 5-wave postcard campaign going to 30,000 people. They're the same people except for the fact that 2,000 postcards came back. And so we took them out. We're not sending things to them again, and we've added to that. We basically do as many postcards as we have postcard writers and the number of postcards they are willing to write. But we usually are in the 30,000, 31,000 range. And this past year, we have had 4, and I just got a 5th one yesterday, new postcard teams in different places around the state. Okay, so let's fix it. This is a billboard and a postcard. The postcard campaign all the way through is no one voted for this, let's fix it. There's a QR code on the other side. The QR code gets you to this webpage of ours. This webpage gives you 9 different things that you can do right now, sitting on your ass, to help fix it. Everything from protesting to registering and voting, to contacting your representatives, to do something as simple as talking to your family and friends. And it gives you detail on some detail, not too much, on how to do that. We also have 4 billboards in the district. We are about to do programmatic ads and texting to some of the same people that got the postcards. And we're going to test whether getting the postcards by themselves, getting the programmatic ads and texting by themselves without the postcards, because we have some people left over, deliberately left over so that we can use them, and some combination. So, and we've got that whacked up by whether they're male or female, whether they're urban or rural, whether they're young or old, and something else. And we hope that we learn something about that so we can do even better at targeting where the money goes. It may be that for young urban people, just getting the texting and the programmatic ads, no postcards, is good. For rural people, they don't get the text and the programmatic because they don't have internet. So postcards is like the really good way to get to them. Next. And so this is one of our billboard, let's fix it billboards. And we are taking our show on the road. So this is the model outreach. And we have an overview and a detailed guide. We do overview, history, marketing, messaging, using data, fundraising, and making it all come together. This is all we all know that there's all this behind the scenes stuff that has to happen, or the rest of it doesn't happen. Next. Okay, here it is. And believe it or not, level 2 is done, and there it is, and it looks gorgeous. And it has tabs, and you can click on any of the tabs, and it gets you to the right chapter. And there's all kinds of links in it and it's got a lot of. That's another one of our billboards. Chaos, corruption, cruelty. I think that one is in the Alamogordo Walmart parking lot. More. So anyway, this is what it looks like, and this is the not very much detail about how we do it. And then the next level is going to have lots of detail. Next. Okay, how did Gabe win in 2024, even though CD2 voted Republican? This is an example of how we use data, but it's also very interesting. Next.
I thought I answered that question. Misogyny. Go ahead.
Well, that's part of it, but it's not all of it. So in 2024, Gabe won the district by 52 to Harold's 48, let's say. So he won by about 4%. Harris lost the district by 2%. So Gabe beat Harris, if you want to think about it that way, by getting 6% more of the vote than Harris got. So next. There are a bunch of different influences. Okay, and I'm not even considering misogyny and racism. You forgot racism. So overall, the Democratic messaging did not do the job of telling people how bad Trump was. Although there's any number of things they could have picked from, and they didn't do any of that. Successful Democratic senators and congresspersons who won in other tough districts where Trump won did use these tactics against their opponents and against Trump, and they did win. The campaign pushed Harris, I mean, that was her choice, but as an underdog when she was ahead. And there are many people thinking that she shouldn't have done that nobody wants, if she thinks she's going to lose, why should I vote for her? I want to vote for the person who wins. Okay, and then there's the failure of the national media. Overall, stonewashing Trump, minimizing Biden, harping on Biden's age, but not Trump's, downplaying Project 2025. Anyway, you all know that list. Okay, but I think those are important in what they did and didn't do to draw the attention of the dangers of Trump to whatever. Next.
Could I disagree with that?
No, not right now.
Why not?
Because I want to get through this.
The presentation.
So Gabe had very good media presence in his own campaign, even without national help. He did that against a background of tons of Republican money coming in, not as much as is coming in now, but still a huge amount. And we had a weak or non-existent state Democratic Party, and that doesn't make us unique. The National Democratic Party has spent far too many rounds of this not supporting state parties. Thank goodness the new Democratic Party is in fact giving money and training to state parties. In CD2, 5 of the 13 full counties in the district had defunct county parties. They had had their authorization removed because they either weren't there at all or they were fighting each other. There was no consistent messaging, themes, or strategies coming from the state party. There was no money coming from the state party, and there was no money coming to the state at the state level or the local level from the DNC. Next. Okay. He also was a hell of a good congressperson. Remember, this was he was going for his second term, and now he's going for his third term. So he brought over 14 million into the district. And Yvette had taken an oath not to bring any federal money was bad. She didn't even discuss it. Gabe went into, as I said, small town Republican mayors love him because he told them that this money was available to every congressperson and asked them what they needed. He's also highly visible, very responsive, very effective congressional and regional
We're
office staff.
losing audio.
Oh, sorry. Is that better?
Much better. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. This is a map of CD2 is the orange, and these are all of the money that all the money in all the places that Gabe brought in that $14 million. Okay, next. Also his own personality. He is an American dream figure. He's a first generation immigrant who is highly successful. The district is 55% Hispanic, and so is he. He's bilingual. His ads in Spanish were just really great. He's an environmentalist, but he's a hunter. He's a fisherman. He's, a macho guy, or at least he manages to get perceived that way. And he has extreme interest in protecting public lands, and many of his constituents share all those values. Nevertheless, with all that, he lost the rural areas, as did Kamala. Kamala lost them worse than he did. If it hadn't been for redistricting that pulled a chunk of Bernalillo into the district, we couldn't have won this. Okay, so next. I'm not going to read this, but basically it's saying he did a good job and he fits the district. And he even Republican offered. Evidently, the Republicans didn't figure out that the district spoke Spanish in 2024. But unfortunately for us, they figured that out now. Okay, next. So I'm going to do a very fast pass on this, but this is looking at what difference it made where you lived in terms of how you voted. So over on the very left-hand side is the most rural locations, and over here are the most urban locations. And if you look at the bars, the two blue ones are Vasquez and Harrell. That's the congressional race. And the white and the red are the presidential race. So if you look at the red lines in the two rural areas, you see that Trump really pulled a lot in the rural areas and obviously much less in the urban areas. If you look at Harrell won in the most rural areas, of far left dark blue line, and then lost increasingly as it went urban. So what, for BlueCD2's purposes, in terms of planning, it means we need to figure out how to get to the rural areas better, period. That's what we need to do. And that it will be certainly one of the things that we will be trying to do next, which might be, yep, I thought so. Constance, you're on.
Well, I think maybe Kim can bring us up to date on where we are right now.
I am so happy to report that we are at $9,980. You are awesome, everyone. Thank you.
Woohoo.
So we have a stretch goal of 15,000, and hopefully, between we did everything we've heard, we might be making that. This is wonderful. But but please feel free to continue to donate, because we all would like to get take back Congress next year. And the more Congress people who are good and already in there that we can keep, the better. Particularly Gabe, who, as you heard earlier, is really the target of the Republicans for the next election.
Right.
So
Do we have any questions from the web?
don't see any. Did anybody have
Okay.
anything they'd like to ask?
Good. In
Just
that
put it-
case, this room is bursting, so Richard, can you make something a question and not a diatribe?
I'm not happy attacking other Democrats.
Can't hear you.
I was particularly happy with that point on your slide. I don't believe we lost the election because the Democratic Party did not do everything possible. I think we lost it because we had an unpopular candidate who spent too much time attacking Donald Trump and not enough time saying why we were the better option.
Okay. Okay. Was that audible online?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Okay. I just had a quick. Yeah.
Made a donation online before coming to this event. Will that count for this event or?
Of course. Absolutely. Yes. Anything you did when you signed up definitely counts. That was part of what we said at the beginning, that we had about $5,500 already in before we started. And that would include yours. No, thank God. The question was, is Yvette Harrell running again? And we don't know yet. I don't even want to speculate because various people have been mentioned, each one worse than the last.
Hard to hear
And-
you, Marty.
Is Yvette running again? No. Who is? We don't know. Do you know anything?
Okay, we have a question coming in on the Zoom. I am from a CD2, in quotes, on Long Island. How can we get this presentation to share with the local Dem committee who has not been effective, as you have been, in getting Dems elected? Why reinvent the wheel?
Yes, by reinvent the wheel. Can you ask her to put her contact information in the chat and we will?
Yes, I'm actually going to put our contact information in the chat also. So if you would like to reach out to us, we would be more than happy to work with you. The more of these CD2s we find, the better.
Right. It doesn't have to be CD2, but oddly enough, the Virginia district that wants to work on this as we do is Virginia 2. And the Arizona district that wants to work on this with us is Arizona 2, although there's also Arizona 1 and Arizona 6 that are flippable. So what we are planning to do, because now we have the overview guide done and we can share it, and we are very close to having the detailed guide done, is we're going to kind of call and do a Zoom, invite everybody that we've ever been in contact with who has shown any kind of interest in this model to attend. And we're going to start plotting and planning about how to help them do that. And we don't know how that's going to go yet, because we know that some of the people that are interested are very sophisticated in their own right. They have data people, they have data, they know, they do good messaging and so on and so forth. And they kind of want tips. And once they get the guide, they're going to just be able to take off. We also have people that are way at the other end. If we get enough interest from the people that need more coaching, we're going to have to hire somebody. And that's, we'll know that more next year, early next year. And because we hope that we can get this interest going so that it can operate all of 2026 in these districts. But there may be, in addition to our general appeal in an election year, which is even pushier than this, if that happens, then we have to hire somebody to honcho all of the assistance to other districts. Then that's going to be a whole different kind of appeal. Right. Okay. Any other questions, comments, whatever? The person online recognized that we cannot directly help a party, including the county Democratic Party or a state Democratic Party. But we can talk. Negotiations are always possible. Josh.
Wow. We're at 10,000, how much? $480? Fabulous.
Yay!
This is amazing, guys. This is something terrific. Thank you. We have a question here. Let's see. Sorry, it's gone off my screen. What would be the difference in this being a PAC versus a Democratic Party organization?
Two different animals. The Democratic Party is the Democratic Party. It's a political party. It, runs it, it has its own rules, its own whatevers. A PAC is a political action committee, is an independent of the party, any party entity that can do what it wants. There are many kinds of PACs. You're welcome to go to the FEC and look up all the different kinds of PACs that there are. But the one that we chose to be, you can be a hybrid PAC so that you can do, and I don't even know what a hybrid PAC is.
I can't hear you.
I just know that there are hybrid PACs. You can be a lot of different kinds of political action committees. And we chose the independent expenditure one because it fit our needs the best. It gave us the greatest flexibility. It has some restrictions that we can't work with the party. But
Marty, we cannot hear you. I'm sorry. I keep interrupting.
I'm holding this right up against my what? Oh, I keep wiggling it. All right. So the restrictions are also the advantages. We wanted to be independent. We wanted to be able to make our own decisions about who we went after, about what messages we used, about how often we did it. A lot of different things. And we needed, let me just say, we had to be a federal PAC of some kind or other in order to try to influence a federal election. So if you want a little bit of history, first, we were an indivisible chapter. And an indivisible chapter cannot advocate for a particular political party. You can, it's because they're either a 501c3 or a 4. But they cannot advocate for a particular candidate. Then we became a state PAC when we, the next thing that we did, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the reason, but there was some reason having to do with wanting to work on state campaigns. We're still a state PAC. And then when we decided to work on Gabe's campaign specifically, not just against a Republican, but specifically on Gabe's campaign, we had to become a federal PAC. And that's what we are. Yeah.
But not necessarily, but if you say closed guide, you'll get rid of that in a minute. That's just our TV does this weird thing, and we don't have the remote from it. But I just wanted to say there's no reason why a party or county party couldn't do something similar. It doesn't have to be this way. It just worked for what they were doing at the time they were doing it. But oh no, our TV is being. See, it won't do anything. So you're just turning it off and on? Yeah, that should work.
We can't hear you, I'm afraid. Sorry.
So a county party could decide to do this, and there's no reason why they couldn't. Um,
There is no reason. We had actually offered Democratic county parties in New Mexico some of this, and then the state party at that time told the county parties not to work with us. Don't ask me why. However, we now have a better relationship with Sarah Adelson, who's the new chair of the state party, and Cam, the vice chair, and so on. And in fact, not tomorrow night, but I'm probably thinking of SOS. I think we have. Did we already have Sarah Adelson come and talk to us?
Not yet.
Now, okay, so one of our monthly meetings coming up, maybe the next one, which is the third Thursday of every month, we are going to have Sarah Adelson come and talk to us. And part of that discussion is going to be what ways can we cooperate and what ways can't we? So we are willing to cooperate in any way. And we have done presentations to county parties about messaging, about targeting, and we're willing to do them again. A lot just depends on how the state party sets the policy for county parties and itself cooperating with us, collaborating with us, or not. Okay, so we are not averse to doing that. We'd be happy to do it. The more the merrier. Anybody call on you two if there's nobody else that wants to, that hasn't yet asked. Okay, Pat, go.
Could you repeat the question, please?
I will. Okay. So who is the we that I'm talking about? Where are we? Do we have officers and all of that sort of stuff? There's about 20 people on the steering committee. We have other committees. We have a messaging committee. We have a fundraising committee. We have a data committee. We have an outreach committee. And every one of those committees has people on it who are not on the steering committee also. So in other words, there's probably 40 people altogether who are working on one committee or another, including the steering committee. We are all over the state. We essentially never have in-person meetings. We have Zoom meetings. And once a year, usually we have a retreat of a couple of days where we are actually physically oh, is that what you look like? So when I see your whole self. We have from the beginning, even before we were incorporated, had co-chairs, a treasurer, a secretary, as official people, especially when you have bank accounts. This helps. So I'm the treasurer, for instance. And what else was part of the question? Yes, there is a board, a very small board, as big a board as we needed to get incorporated. And that involved finding people in CD2 who lived in CD2 who were willing to be on the board. But we have written guidelines in such a way that the board does not control the steering committee. Because the steering committee has always been the lifeblood, and the direction. We make communal decisions. Committees bring issues to the board, and there's general discussion. Literally, whoever's on the meeting at the time can vote, whether they just happen to be there that day or not. It's a very flat enjoyable, almost never fights way to operate. It has been a pleasure actually to work with a group of people that are part of it, and we have amazing talent in of just the right variety and just the right place, and but there are new other talents that we need. We desperately need somebody who's really good at social media in the YouTube, TikTok, little podcast, so on level, not Facebook, not Instagram, but the followers, how do you do that? We really don't have that. We definitely use more power on the website. There's always things to do. And the
Marty,
more
we might want to
people.
talk about the number of postcard folks we have
Oh,
also.
yes. And then we have about 500 people writing postcards around the state, writing that 30,000 postcards or 40,000 postcards. We have,
Around the state and beyond, actually, right?
well, we had a team in Maine for a while. And people tell their friends, and then their friends have a group of friends, and they're willing to write postcards if I ship them to them. I have one of my postcard people spends her summer in Nova Scotia, so I send her 300 cards, and she writes them in Nova Scotia and sends them back to me. But this year we have 25 teams, I think. There's 10 or 12 in Albuquerque, and I do the whole rest of the state, coordinating the teams. And this year, so we are now up to 13 teams around the state, as well as the 10 in Albuquerque, which is, pretty remarkable, actually. Yeah. So I think we're done. And I want to thank you all, everybody online and in this room, for coming. I want to thank you for your generosity. The donate button's always open. And I absolutely want to thank Margot and Nancy for their incredible offer of matching everything that the rest of you gave. So that makes this like our absolute best fundraiser of the year. And congratulations to all of you. And I'll be here if you have other questions.
Do we have a final total?
Yes, but I do see there's one question in the Q&A section from someone named Rochelle Katz, and she says, "Happy to support you. I'm in Los Angeles in Ted Lieu's district, looking for a source for information about other flippable districts in the U.S. because donating in my district makes no sense."
No.
That is Simon Rosenberg and his.
There are a number of districts. Actually, if you've heard of Simon Rosenberg, he has a blog he calls, what is it?
Opium Chronicles.
Opium, how could I forget this? Opium Chronicles, and
It's
he's backing a number of candidates who are either in flippable districts or who are imperiled. So you might start with him.
Right. And several of those are California districts. So if you want to stay in state, even if your particular district is hopeless, there are several new members of Congress that just won last year that we need to keep there. And there are probably several of the ones that didn't win that are going to try again. But Derek Tron and Whitesides, what's his first name? Who's up around Ojai, and Whitesides is up around Ojai, are two of the people that just won and need to win again in California.
So it's great to hear that, because we really need to put our resources where we need to.
Can you
and get people elected. I think we have a chance, particularly if other groups are willing to adopt some of the tactics and approaches that we use, that they're not something we invented. They're basically marketing 101, to be honest. But you have to be disciplined about it. And that is, I think, where we sometimes find the people fall down.
You have to be disciplined and you have to have some resources. And we have been extremely lucky in the talents of all of us retired people who have been drawn to BlueCD2 to work with it because we have data scientists, we have Constance as a marketing expert, we have a fundraising guru who does fundraising for a living. You know, we have me who's not afraid of numbers and therefore is the treasurer. um, and any number of other people, you know, who do the newsletter for us, you know, who somebody we just acquired or has just joined us who does, who is working on how we can help with down ballot in-state races in 2026. So we love talent. We put talent to use and the talent really pays off for us. And I think that's, you know, the talent, the experience, it shows. And it really shows when you start talking to people who want to do stuff, but don't have the experience and don't have the resources. And we hope that we can help them, you know, move along. Okay, I'm going to call it quits.
Well, let me just give the very final total. We're at $10,980, and with the wonderful matching, we have exceeded our goal. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. This is wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we will use your money well.
We
Yes.
will. All right.
Good night.
Many
Bye.
thanks to Margot and Nancy.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Margot and Nancy, and for your first huge gift that got us off at the beginning of the year. That was incredible. So you're fabulous. You all are fabulous. Thank you.